This win over the Bears felt different, and if you watched it live, you know exactly what I mean. This wasn't just another check mark in the win column. This was one of those games that quietly shifts the way you look at the entire season. Short week, injuries everywhere, guys in and out of the lineup, and yet the 49ers went out there and handled business in a way that tells you this team is still very much a problem for the rest of the league. It's the kind of win that makes you sit back afterward and say, yeah, this group might actually be built for something special. Think about the context for a second. Coming off a physically demanding game, turning around on a shortened week, and facing a Bears team that had been playing loose and aggressive. The 49ers didn't flinch. They didn't panic. They didn't look sloppy or unprepared. They looked calm, confident, and in control, even with so many familiar names missing or limited. That matters because those are the types of games that separate teams that are just good from teams that actually know who they are. What stood out most wasn't just the score or the final result, it was how the 49ers got there. They found answers. When something wasn't working, they adjusted. When someone went down, the next guy stepped in and did his job. That's not luck, and that's not something you fake for one night. That's a reflection of preparation, coaching, and a locker room that believes in what it's doing. And honestly, it's why this win feels like more than just beating Chicago. If you're watching this and you felt your confidence level rise after this game, you're not alone. I want to hear from you in the comments. Did this win change how you feel about the 49ers moving forward? Yes or no? And while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, and if you're here for daily, honest 49ers coverage, you're exactly who this channel is for. Hit the like button too. It really helps get these videos in front of more Niners fans. Because here's the thing, this game wasn't an isolated moment. It was the latest example of something this team has been doing all season, surviving and winning despite circumstances that would derail most teams. And once you start laying out everything they've had to overcome, it makes this stretch even more impressive. That's exactly what we need to talk about next, because the injury gauntlet this team has pushed through tells you a lot about who they really are. When you really step back and look at this season, it almost doesn't make sense how much the 49ers have dealt with and still ended up right where they are. Injuries aren't just part of the story, they are the story. And yet somehow, this team keeps finding ways to move forward. Not just survive, but win meaningful games. Star players, role players, starters, backups. It feels like at some point everyone has been either hurt, limited, or missing time, and that usually destroys continuity. For this team, it's almost become fuel. Just think about the names that have been in and out. Trent Williams missing time, Fred Warner missing time, Nick Bosa missing time, Brock Purdy missing time, key defenders gone for long stretches, offensive weapons unavailable. And even when guys are active, they're not always at full strength. Most teams fall apart when 2 or 3 of those things happen. The 49ers have been dealing with waves of it, week after week, and somehow the machine keeps running. What makes this even more impressive is that this hasn't been a one-week issue. This has been season-long adversity. Different offensive line combinations, different defensive rotations, new players being asked to step in and contribute immediately. And instead of simplifying everything and hoping to survive, the team has still been creative, aggressive, and confident. That tells you there's real trust in the system and real buy-in from the players. It also forces you to rethink how you compare this team to past versions. There have been 49ers teams with more star power on paper, teams that felt unstoppable when fully healthy. But toughness isn't just about talent, It's about adaptability. This group has learned how to win in multiple ways. Shootouts, grinded-out games, short weeks, ugly games, it hasn't mattered. They've adjusted and kept going. I'm curious how you see it. In the comments, which injury hurt the most this season, in your opinion? And be honest, do you think this might be the toughest team Kyle Shanahan has coached so far? Yes or no? If you respect the way this team has battled through everything, hit the like button. It really does help the channel grow. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and the playoff push is exactly when you want daily Niners coverage. Because when you survive this much adversity and still play this well, it doesn't just reflect on your players. It shines a massive spotlight on the guy pulling the strings. And once you really understand what Kyle Shanahan has done this season, it becomes clear why the rest of the league would line up in a heartbeat if he were ever available. This is the part where the conversation really changes, because once you put everything into context, it becomes obvious why Kyle Shanahan is the guy everybody else would want. Look around the league and think about how many teams would drop everything if he somehow became available. It wouldn't be a debate. It would be instant. And the reason is what you've been watching all season: a coach who keeps finding answers no matter how many problems get thrown at him. When the Coach of the Year odds started shifting in his direction, that wasn't hype, that was recognition. Other coaches have done good jobs, no question. Some took over struggling teams, some inherited talent and polished it. But what Shanahan has done goes deeper than that. He's been reshaping game plans weekly, sometimes daily, based on who's healthy, who's limited, and who can execute what. That level of adaptability is rare, and it's why this offense keeps producing even when the usual weapons aren't all there. What really hits home are the words coming straight from the locker room. When Brock Purdy calls him a Hall of Fame coach, that's not media talk. That's a quarterback who knows his success is tied directly to preparation and structure. When Christian McCaffrey talks about Shanahan understanding defensive football as well as anyone, that tells you why this offense stays one step ahead. He's not just calling plays, he's anticipating reactions, tendencies, and emotions on the other side of the ball. And this is where the narrative needs to be corrected. Losing a Super Bowl doesn't define a coach. Getting there matters. Consistently putting your team in position to compete matters. There are a lot of coaches who never even sniff that stage. The idea that you move on from a coach like this because he hasn't won the final game yet completely ignores how hard it is to build sustained success in this league. The moment you let someone like this go, someone else grabs him immediately. I want to know where you stand on this. Be honest in the comments. Would you trade Kyle Shanahan for any coach in the league right now? Yes or no? And if you believe he's the best coach in football, let that be known too. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel as, well, we're pushing hard toward 1,000 subscribers, and your support makes that possible. Like the video if you appreciate smart, detailed 49ers coverage. Because when the coaching puts players in position to succeed, the results start stacking up. And lately, the numbers coming out of these games don't just look good, they look historic. That's where we need to go next, because the stats from this stretch tell a story that's hard to ignore. Once you start digging into the numbers from this stretch, it honestly starts to feel unreal, and that's not an exaggeration. These aren't empty stats or box score fluff. These are numbers that tell you the offense is clicking at a level that very few teams ever reach. Brock Purdy, in particular, has been playing some of the most efficient football you'll see anywhere in the league. Completion percentage through the roof, touchdowns piling up, and doing it without relying on one single style of play. He's throwing from the pocket, extending plays, and even adding value with his legs when it matters. What makes it even crazier is that this isn't happening with a fully intact roster. Over the last few weeks, Purdy has stacked nearly 1,000 total yards and double-digit touchdowns, and he's doing it while defenses know exactly who they're trying to take away. When you see him mentioned in historical conversations, especially comparisons that include names like Michael Vick in very specific categories, it should stop you for a second. Purdy isn't known as a running quarterback, yet he's still finding ways to impact games in multiple dimensions. And then there's Christian McCaffrey, who somehow continues to raise the bar even higher. He's already put himself in Hall of Fame company, matching accomplishments that only legends like LaDainian Tomlinson have reached. 3 seasons with over 2,000 scrimmage yards and 15 touchdowns is not something you stumble into. That's consistency, durability, and elite performance all rolled into one. And before anyone brings up the expanded schedule, he didn't even need it. He got there early. That matters. One of the most overlooked parts of all this, though, has been the offensive line. Against the Bears, the pressure numbers were almost hard to believe. Multiple linemen allowing 0 or 1 pressure, backups stepping in and holding their own, and the run game staying effective even without the usual stars. That's a direct reflection of preparation and trust. It's not flashy, but it's the backbone of everything this offense is doing right now. So let me ask you, which of these stats surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. And let's keep it simple. Is Brock Purdy officially elite in your mind? Yes or not yet? If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and the support right now really makes a difference. Because, as impressive as all of this has been, none of it is in the past tense yet. There's still a massive game ahead, a huge opportunity on the line, and a chance to turn all of this momentum into something even bigger. That's what makes what's coming next so important. Now everything turns forward, and it all comes down to this next matchup. The Seahawks, the 1 seed, and the kind of opportunity you don't get very often. Games like this are why you grind through the long season, why you fight through injuries, and why wins like the one against the Bears matter so much. The stage is set, and there's no hiding from what's at stake. Home field advantage, a bye, and control of the path ahead are all right there. There's been plenty of talk about the scheduling, the short turnaround, and whether the 49ers deserved a different spotlight. You can feel however you want about that, but the reality is this team has already shown it can handle these situations. Short weeks haven't broken them. Travel hasn't rattled them. If anything, they've looked more focused when the margin for error gets smaller. That's a dangerous combination heading into a game like this. And then there's the Christian McCaffrey storyline layered on top of it all. Everyone wants to see the record. Everyone wants to see history. But what makes this team special is that the priority stays the same. Winning comes first. If the opportunities are there, McCaffrey will get his chances. And if not, this team will find another way. That balance between chasing greatness and staying disciplined is exactly why they're in this position. I want your prediction on this one. How many receiving yards do you think McCaffrey finishes with in this game? Drop your number in the comments. And while you're down there, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We're right on the doorstep of 1,000 subscribers. And with the playoffs approaching, this is the best time to be locked in for daily 49ers coverage. Hit the like button too, it helps more Niners fans find the channel. No matter how you slice it, this is the kind of moment that defines seasons. The 49ers have earned the right to be here, and now they get the chance to prove exactly who they are with everything on the line. Let me know how confident you're feeling heading into this one, and we'll be breaking it all down together as it unfolds.